I was pleased to find out that Loretta Lynch, our new Attorney General, is conducting an investigation into the Baltimore Police Department. But Ms. Lynch, I hope you know that it's not just the Baltimore Police Department. The problem with policing is all over the United States of America, from Florida to North Carolina to Cleveland, Ohio to New York City to Ferguson, Missouri to Los Angeles, California. This is a widespread nationwide problem, violence by police officers. We just found out that the Chicago Police Department was fined $5.5 million to 100 black men who were tortured and beaten and coerced into making false testimony against himself. One man spent 20 years in prison and sometime on death row because of false confessions. We saw the Central Park jogger, a case where 5 young men were put to jail, sent into jail because of false testimony. And so we have to review a lot of cases across this country where a lot of black men are in prison right now simply because they didn't have the means and the ability to defend themselves in the court of law. So this is not just a Maryland problem, it is widespread across the country. We saw in Florida where 3 men were plotting, 3 guards were plotting to kill an inmate of a prison. We see in Jasper, Texas, where black men are disappearing. And it goes unnoticed because there's no television to record that sort of thing. And so lynching is still taking place in this country. It simply isn't done as a Saturday evening spectacle, or it is not advertised in newspaper like it used to be. But lynching, I'm convinced, is still taking place across this country. There are black men being murdered, unarmed black men being murdered by police. But yet, the right to carry movement, nobody's getting shot. Can you figure that out? So there is a problem with policing in the black community. It's a mentality, it's a contempt for the rights and the constitutional rights of African Americans. It's a detestment of African Americans. There's a resentment by some police officers. I'm not saying all police officers, because my father was a police officer himself. And so I have nothing against police officers, but I do have a problem with the corruption in the system that is geared toward putting black men in prison. You have judges, you have prosecutors, they're all collaborating. And the thing is, nobody's being held accountable. And this is what is making African Americans so furious. Nobody's being held accountable for their actions. And it just goes on and on and on. So when you conduct an investigation into the Baltimore Police Department, you are just scratching the surface. It is happening all over the country, and a complete review has to be done with the manner in which police officers are trained and the contempt that they have for the African American community. The we versus them has to change. You cannot come into my community and have contempt for me, and that doesn't make me safe. And so please conduct an entire review of policing all over the country for the sake of innocent law-abiding African Americans who are finding themselves with long prison sentences for crimes that they did not commit. And that is Obamacan's point of view.